Hi, I'm Ryan Fitzpatrick with the Clean Energy Program at Third Way, and I wanted to talk to you about a greenhouse gas emissions report that recently came out that's getting a lot of excitement. There's some good news in there, but if you really care about climate, we want to dig a little bit deeper because there are a couple of things that we should probably keep our eye on that might be a concern. So first, the good news. The Environmental Protection Agency put out its most recent edition of a report from the Greenhouse Gas Reporting Program. And basically what they do is they look at the highest emitting sources from across the country. And we're talking about things like power plants and petroleum refineries and the facilities that make things like chemicals and steel, cement and glass. So it covers the bulk of all of the US's emissions. And overall, there was some pretty good news, and it was a 2.5% more or less decrease between 2016 and 2017. And you can take a look at all the different details of what types of facilities these are, where they are, what their decreases were. If you're a map geek like I am, I would definitely recommend just Googling EPA and flight. EPA flight. And you can play around with an interactive map there. It's very cool. So that's the good news, 2.5 degree decrease in emissions overall. But a lot of that is coming from huge increases from some of the bigger sectors, and that's masking, it's huge decreases from some of the bigger sectors, and that's masking some of the increases that we're getting in other sectors that we should keep an eye on. So that big sector I'm talking about is power plants. They've decreased about 20% in terms of emissions over the past 6 or 7 years. And that's what's really driving that overall average decrease. In the meantime, we're actually seeing increases in things like gas processing, chemicals, other heavy industrial facilities. And that's something we should probably keep an eye on because, as the Department of Energy has said, that is one of the only sectors, the industrial sector, that's expected to see significant increases in emissions between now and 2050. Whereas other sectors like the power sector or transportation are projected to either stay about steady or decrease significantly. So if we're going to meet our 2050 goals of having zero carbon emissions by mid-century, we're going to need to start addressing emissions from all of those sectors. We put a report out about this at Third Way a few weeks ago, and it takes a deeper look into the industrial sector, why it's such a big deal for our climate goals if we don't address some of those major sources of emissions. And also we offered some suggestions about where policymakers can look to try and have the most impact in terms of increasing the efficiency of processes around energy within the industrial sector and cutting those emissions. So we'd love for you to take a look if you're interested. It's on our website at www.thirdway.org. That's www.thirdway.org. Thanks.